Hi guys, and welcome back to Twisted Locker, your definitive horror podcast. Today we're going to be talking about some of our favourite horror sci-fi movies. What have you got for me, Jenks?
All right, first up is one of my favorites. Now, before we start, there's a few films not on the list that people will be screaming at. But these sort of films that I tend to pick are the ones that I've owned, that I've watched multiple times. You know, there's loads of films that are better than we're going to pick. But that's what the comment section's for. You can have a rant. So my first pick is 2002's M. Night Shyamalan's Signs. I fucking love this film. It's hard to say it's underrated because it was a big hit.
Yeah.
And he had kind of three hits in a row. He had Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, and Signs. And he was sort of marketed as the next Spielberg. And rightly so. If he'd continued that run, he he would have been fucking amazing. I just thought,
Yeah.
I remember watching Signs and loving it and thinking, fuck, if this guy gets the next film right, he's gonna just keep on going. Turns out his next film was The fucking Village, and not the worst film in the world, but his trajectory changed. So Signs tells a story of it's a very grounded alien invasion story. You won't what so aliens are taking it. So this farmer Graham, played by Mel Gibson, lives with his brother Merle, played by Joaquin Phoenix, and they live on a farm. And the little daughter play a character called Bo, who's played by Abigail Breslin. She was quite famous. She was in Zombieland and Little Miss Sunshine. And you got the other brother then, played by a guy called a little boy called Morgan, and he's played by Rory Culkin. Pop quiz: what other horror film has he been in? Rory Culkin, brother of Macaulay.
um,
Anyone in the comment section? Too late. Scream 4.
What are you staring at, fucker?
So they find a crop circle in their crop field, in their cornfield, and they're popping up throughout different farms around the world. You're seeing the alien invasion through the news, through radio, but everything is just from the farm. You don't see what happens outside the farm. And it's so frightening. Yes, it's an alien story, but it plays like a horror film. The first little sightings, when he's in the cornfield, he drops the torch and sees like a leg going into the cornfield. He sees the monster, the alien on top of the barn at night. Really good, really strong jump scenes. And they've got a scene in it where it shouldn't work because it's quite lazy, but it's fucking brilliant. Where Merle, Meryl, sorry, not Merle, Meryl, he's watching the news and they've got the first footage caught on camera. This alien, there's a kid's party, and he's saying, move, come on, I want to see it. I just see it for a split second, it pauses it, and it's so disturbing and frightening. It's like a bit like found footage, but it just works so fucking well, like really well. I love this film, and I just the end. Yeah, people think the end is a bit silly. I'm not going to spoil the ending. I know it's an old film, but I don't need to spoil it to give a review. So I tend to keep these things out of it. But I like the ending. Yes, the aliens are a bit CGI, but you don't see them very often, and they're pretty effective. And I think this is the last amazing M. Night Shyamalan movie. He's had a couple of ups and downs, a couple of okay films like Split, but this was his trilogy basically. Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, and Signs. And if you stop there, this guy has made three awesome fucking films. Yeah, I love this film. What do you think?
yeah, I've never had a massive connection with Signs. I mean, it's a good film and I like it, but it was never one of those movies that I talked about a lot or went back and rewatched.
Yeah,
But it is a good one. I've loved M Night's resurgence since his departure when he ended up doing After Earth and Last Airbender and that. I
yeah.
think he's had a solid comeback. But yeah, good pick, Jenks. My first pick is John Carpenter's 1988 classic, They Live.
Glasses off. She looks like a regular person, doesn't she, huh? Put them back on. Formaldehyde face. That's what we got.
Enough.
I absolutely love this movie. And unlike you, Jenks, I genuinely think the two that I'm going to pick are deserve to be in the top 5 greatest sci-fis of all time. Bold statement. I may get lynched in the comments. I doubt I will, though. So,
Yeah, you deserve it.
basic plot of the story. We've got John Nada, played by the great Roddy Piper, stumbles upon these pair of glasses that reveals aliens have taken over humanity, and he joins forces with others still human to fight. It's best known for his social commentary and consumerism and the power of mass media. But beside the social commentary aspects, it's a really funny, witty action sci-fi
Yeah.
with the most bonkers fight scene you will ever see. You've got Roddy Piper and Keith David, who I'll actually be meeting in October in For the Love of Horror. I absolutely can't wait. He obviously belongs to 2 of my favourite films.
Yeah.
The most bonkers fight scene you'll ever see. I think at one point, it was the longest fight ever put to film. And I think they practiced it in John Carpenter's back garden. I think they choreographed it there. I just picture Keith David and Roddy Piper in John Carpenter's back garden. Brilliant.
Yeah.
John Carpenter isn't short of 5-star movies. And this for me has always been close to the top. It holds a very special place in my heart. I absolutely love this movie. And it delivers one of the greatest lines ever when Roddy Piper turns up in the bank.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
That was actually something that Roddy Piper had written down on paper for a line he was going to deliver. Was he in WWF or WWE? Either one.
No,
he had a
both the same.
notebook. Yeah, okay. Well, he had a notebook that he'd write lines in that he would want to deliver when he was wrestling. And he showed the notebook to John Carpenter, and he loved that, and he went for it. The only disappointment in this movie, right, is Roddy Piper's great in this role, right? But I'm such a huge Kurt Russell fan. It was originally wrote for him, so he was going to be with Keith David again, and it was going to be Kurt Russell and Keith David. Now, Roddy Piper was a great choice, and he was one of the first WWE stars or wrestling stars to cross over to movies and actually make a splash in the business. I'm not that disappointed, but Kurt Russell in that role would have been amazing. But yeah, that's got to be my first pick.
I like that film. I've only seen it once or twice. The alien, the sort of skeleton alien look is fantastic, very ahead of his time. The scene that I remembered the most was when he's fighting Keith David, and they just hit each other in the nuts constantly.
Yeah.
I maybe I was young and maybe I exaggerated, but I just remember it just being constant back and forth, nuts. And you know, yes, I was gonna say it's unrealistic, but it's about a film about fucking aliens. So, you know, the nut thing is the least.
And it was made in the 80s, Jenks. Come on, it's not the most unrealistic film made in the 80s.
They didn't have nuts in those days. They didn't it. Yeah. Right. My last pick is probably the great, like most sci-fis are sci-fis with horror elements. This pick is probably the most, or the probably one of the best, most closest to the accurate horror / sci-fi, and it's 1997's Event Horizon. Because if you ask anybody, they wouldn't give you a definitive answer. Is it horror? Is it a sci-fi? Doesn't matter. It's both. Now, I love Alien. Alien was close to being one of my picks. The reason I picked Event Horizon, and I know Alien is a better movie, but I owned Event Horizon. I was excited about it. I respect Alien, and I think Alien is a proper sci-fi horror. But I don't connect with it like I did Event Horizon. Now, this film came out in 1997, directed by somehow Paul W.S. Anderson, the guy who did Resident Evil 1 is okay, but he's not a very good director. He's just
Mortal
not.
Kombat.
I used to fucking own Mortal Kombat, the old one.
Everyone did. It was great when I was a kid.
I used to collect it. It's nice to buy any old videos. I didn't give a shit. I had fucking Batman and Robin, for Christ's sake. So this tells the story of this ship called the Event Horizon. Again, I'm not going to put any spoilers in. I know it's an old film, but you don't need to give spoilers and these little quick ones. So this ship, the Event Horizon, went missing 7 years ago. And 7 years later, there's a distress call from it. It's been found. And it was a ship that could bend space and it could travel any point in the universe. And it went missing. And now it's been found. And they send this ship, the Lewis and Clark, to investigate. The typical sort of team of astronauts with different personalities, different skills. And it's the good thing about this film is that they're all memorable. A little bit like Predator. They're not just there to be killed. They are there. I can't remember all the names, so they're not that as memorable as Predator, but I do remember them all. They're not just like, okay, let's get these guys. They're just there to be killed. Every character has a good part and a role to play, and their deaths mean something. So, to cut long story short, this ship didn't go to another part of space. It went to either another dimension that was like hell, or actually went to hell, and it brought back something, and it kind of made the ship alive or possessed. And it is so fucking creepy because you really do have the isolation of space. You have like the haunted house where it's literally there is no escape. You've got the horror of space and the problems with oxygen and all the usual sort of sci-fi drama. But you've got this thing that can go into your thoughts and it can take your worst fears. It stars Lawrence Fishburne. He's the captain. He's fucking brilliant. And you've got Sam Neill, who does a really good performance as this guy who built the Event Horizon, and he's there as a consultant. But he's affected by it more because he's more connected to the ship, and he lost his wife. She killed herself, and he's living with his guilt. So his thoughts, his fears are really traumatized. If you haven't already seen it, I'd highly recommend it. It's very disturbing. It is by fucking far Paul W. Anderson's greatest movie. He hasn't done anything even fucking close to this. Like I said, Resident Evil 1 is not the worst film in the world, but most of them are fucking trash, and he's kind of a trashy director. The only gripe about this film I got, one gripe, is fucking techno music in it, in a horror film. He loves techno music in Mortal Kombat, in Resident Evil. I don't know what it is. He must be. I don't know where he's from. Is he from like Sweden, where he's just like one of these like bass hunters?
He's a techno guy.
Tech. Anyway, he's probably like John Carpenter, where he just brings his own little fucking keyboard.
Yeah.
But it's a fucking awesome film. I'm not making fun of it because it's great. Highly recommend. That's my pick. Event Horizon. Watch it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, love it, Jenks. Sam Neill is very underappreciated as a genre actor. You've got In the Mouth of Madness, Possession,
Brilliant.
Jurassic Park, Ethan, Event Horizon. Cracking actor. Great pick, Jenks. Love it. Now, my top pick, which I genuinely think is the best movie ever made, the best horror ever made, the best sci-fi ever made, whatever you want to call it. I've got John Carpenter's sci-fi classic, The Thing. This movie takes us to Outpost 31, led by...
What gave it away?
The Thing.
What gave it away? Fuck. Oh, the viewers like, whoa, we never saw that coming. Carry on.
No one's seen it coming. That's the only reason I threw it out. Little curveball for you.
You should have gone like that.
So,
Ta-da!
so this movie takes us to Outpost 31, led by Kurt Russell's MacReady, and it's a paranoia masterpiece. When a group of researchers out in the Antarctic wilderness stumble upon a flesh-mimicking alien, all trust goes out the window, causing high tension in Outpost 31. First thing I have to mention with this film, right? Rob Bottin's special effects in this movie is untouched. As much as I love John Savini, Tom Savini, the special effects in this movie
that's bad. Tom,
absolutely next level. I let you speak in yours, right? Shut your mouth and let me speak. I'm losing my trail of thought now.
Sorry, carry on.
Rob Bottin's work in this movie is absolutely incredible. And if you don't get enjoyment out of the plot, I can assure you the special effects in this movie will bring you some joy. That, along with the location, the anxiety-inducing pacing that John Carpenter delivers, and Ennio Morricone's outstanding score for this movie, which Quentin Tarantino actually used unused certs from that score to put in The Hateful Eight, I have to chuck that out there because I'm a massive fan of that film, is just insane. And it makes the most perfect film in my opinion. Kurt Russell's most iconic role and one of the greatest casts ever delivered in film. This film doesn't miss a beat the whole film. This has been one of my most watched movies of all time. Again, I'm just a massive fan of Kurt Russell. It's one of the main aspects I love any film that he's in. But this film is by far John Carpenter's best film, and in my opinion, one of the greatest movies ever made. And it's just a shame that it hit the box office and almost ruined John Carpenter's career, led to him being fired from movies that he was attached to with the studio. But that has to be my top pick. There's not much more I can say about this one that you don't already know. But if you haven't seen it, you have to watch it. What do you reckon, Jenks?
I like the thing. It hasn't got the same connection as some other films. I've seen it loads of times. For some reason, like I didn't watch it when I was growing up, so I watched it as an adult, so it didn't connect with me as much as like Evil Dead 2 and things like that. But I did recently watch it because I rewatched the remake, and it's a prequel. It's basically a remake. And it's a bit underrated. It's too much CGI, but it's not a terrible film. I think there's so much love for the original and people just jumped on it. I think if people watched it and just accepted it for what it is, it's not a bad movie. But because of that, then my wife and I clicked the thing to connect them to. And I preferred the prequel, to be honest. I'm joking. You're going to kill me, Ed.
Oh my God.
I'm joking.
I was going to delete every video we've ever done for this podcast.
No, it's a cracking film. Good pick. Yeah, I love it.
I genuinely, right? My heart is in my throat. That hurt.
Well, you know.
Here we are then, guys. I'm going to cut it there, right? Because I'm going to have a little cry in the corner. But that is all we got time for today. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.